Well, Make America Healthy Again is officially coming to the White House in January after President-elect Donald Trump chose former independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as the Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services. Now, RFK Jr., a prominent voice against chemicals and harmful food additives like artificial dyes, is looking to fix the health crisis in the country. And it's caused by things like that, all the different pesticides. He wants to get rid of those as well. But this is causing a meltdown from the opposition. Watch.
Well, America, I hope you like measles.
I mean, we would be talking about going back to the, 1700, 1800. I mean, this is serious.
RFK Jr. is a nut.
Talk about putting the fox in charge of the hen house. He's supposed to save lives. If he actually were to implement some of his policies, Jonathan, people would die.
It's not often that the entire medical and public health community is going to be in lockstep on something, but they're pretty close on this in terms of their significant concerns, horror even. Somebody said to me today, I can't think of any single individual who'd be more damaging to public health than RFK.
All right, so let's discuss this. Let's welcome in an internalist from Custom Care Medical, Dr. Frank Contessessa. Great to see you, Dr. Frank. As a doctor yourself, what do you make of this response here to this nomination? Is there any fear or concern that's warranted here? I mean, the left really does not like this pick, but RFK Jr. does plan to make some change here when it comes to the food that we eat.
Well, good morning, John. And I would say if the pharmaceutical industry and the left are this upset about this pick, then I'd say it's the right pick. No, this is fear-mongering at its best. People who say these things about RFK, they haven't listened to what he's been saying. He's not looking to ban vaccines. He just wants the real data so that we can know the real safety of these things, because the truth is we haven't really looked at this in 30 years. He wants to make our food healthier again. It's almost like, Make America Great Again has turned into a bad thing. Make America Healthy Again is turning into a bad thing. I think it's fear-mongering at its best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the talking points is his thoughts on vaccines. But RFK Jr. has already said that he's not going to touch the vaccines. And he said this about 2 weeks ago, but the left continues to latch on to this talking point. Watch this.
Are there specific vaccines that you would seek to take off the market?
No, I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccines. I've never been anti-vaccine.
So you joined us here on Wake Up America last week where you spoke about this very thing, and you brought up the importance of just asking questions. What are you hoping comes from this, RFK Jr.'s appointment? I mean, do you think that this vaccine issue is they're going to continue to run with this? Or do we need to see RFK get in this role and see what he actually plans to do?
Well, what I want is the truth, because I'm going to tell you right now, as a physician, sometimes I feel lied to and I feel a bit betrayed by the pharmaceutical industry and the CDC and the FDA, things that I held as gospel truths. I'm actually questioning now. And questioning is not a bad thing in science. If the science comes out and the data says that these vaccines are totally safe, wonderful, let's keep using them. But if there's something going on, if there is a real risk to children, if it's causing autism, if these things are happening, let's find out, and let's find out why. I don't understand why that's such a scary thing. And by the way, I'm not an anti-vaxxer either, not by any stretch. But let's find out the truth, and that's really all RFK is saying.
And one of the top issues that RFK wants to get into here as well is the artificial dyes in our food. He's used the popular cereal Fruit Loops as an example, highlighting how the Canadian version has fewer ingredients than the U.S. version. Canada's version is being made with natural colorings from blueberries and carrots, while here in the U.S. it contains red dye, 40, yellow 5, and blue 1. But how does he get this done? Do you think this will be one of his first top priorities, is to get some of these dyes and restrict some of these things in our food?
Yeah, I hope so, John. These dyes and these chemicals, a lot of them come from the petroleum industry. They're byproducts of turning coal into fuel. And this is what we're putting into our kids' food. And whether this comes about through legislation and regulation, or if it's just bringing to light that we teach parents that we shouldn't be giving these things to our kids, and manufacturers will hopefully start to see the difference in their bottom line and say, hey, maybe we should voluntarily take these foods out. And I actually think that's going to happen, because now that this is out in the open, companies are going to start to say, you know what, maybe we'll just voluntarily take this stuff out of our food. And I think that movement has already started.
Real quickly, I want to get to this because the McDonald's is causing the left to go crazy over here. Can we show the picture of them on the plane having the McDonald's? People can have cheat days. Is that right, Dr. Frank?
I loved that photo. I saw it yesterday on Instagram. I prefer to call it a treat instead of a cheat. Cheat implies guilt. You know what? I'm a pretty healthy guy. And if I eat healthy most of the time and RFK eats healthy most of the time, you're allowed to have a treat. I think this was fantastic. This is not something you want to eat all the time, but I think the idea of this photo, I think, was great. I really liked seeing it. And it shows people you don't have to be serious all the time. If you can be good most of the time and be healthy, you're allowed to have a treat every so often.
I love McDonald's, too. Dr. Frank, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on. We'll get you back here again soon.
Thank you.
As for the trial of the murder of Laken Riley, it plays out in Georgia today. A new caravan of illegal migrants is headed towards the southern border, and the Biden-Harris administration refuses to take precaution or make any changes. We're going to bring the latest on that next.